Normally I wouldn't make a video like this. I tried to avoid making videos where I just sit down and ramble, but um, I wanted to talk about something that I'm afraid of, um, and just to talk about the kind of general state of the world at the moment. I try not to talk about anything that can be considered polarizing or, you know, that could split opinions down the middle, um, especially something that's so personal to me and something that scares me or something that I believe in. I tried to keep this channel as fun as possible, but this is something that I feel strongly about and something that I do my fair share of thinking about. George Floyd, as you probably have seen all over the news and social media, was, I think it's pretty safe to say, murdered um, by a police officer. Was had his knee on his neck and he couldn't breathe and eventually died. This is the part where I normally wouldn't talk about something like this on this channel, but you know, it's not the first time a black person was killed by a cop. And you can see why this is becoming like a personal thing. I normally try to take these news stories about these people that get killed by the cops with a grain of salt, because I know that's not the way all cops are, and I to this day I still don't think that all cops are like this, obviously, but it's getting scary. This is becoming too frequent, and even me, for as empathetic and I tried to think about things in the most objective, unbiased light, I don't think I can, you know? It's really freaking me out. Not only because of the life that was just snuffed out, but for the state of the world. As if we didn't have enough issues this year to worry about with this fucking coronavirus thing. And now we have to worry about these riots. It's scary, you know. I'm old enough to form my own opinion and to, realize that this isn't representative of our entire situation, of the entire world. But as a young black male, I would be 100% lying if I said I wasn't scared. I live in New York. I got a lot of stories about the NYPD acting in a uncouth way. It could be me. Again, I would be lying if I said me being around the cops didn't make me nervous. Well, I think something would happen to me? No, probably not. I'm a pretty okay person. I'm a pretty reasonable person. And I don't poke around in places that could get me in trouble or could incite an incident. But it's always lingering in the back of my head, especially because I'm a young black male in New York. I think what happened was disgusting, obviously. Listening to him saying I can't breathe, my neck hurts. I cried. I cried watching it. And I don't even know why I even felt the urge to make this video. I was just laying in bed and I saw the video again, and probably because it relates to me so closely, this is, I feel like sometimes Like, I feel like we're being hunted, you know? And that's obviously not the case. I would like to imagine it isn't the case. And that's my fear getting the better of me for the most part. But that, like I said, the thought is always there. I probably shouldn't even talk about this, but fucking whatever, since I'm getting it all out. Some time ago, I was with Rashad and a few other friends of mine. I was with the XCIX people. We were out in a park by a very recently gentrified neighborhood. This would used to be considered, I wouldn't say used to be considered the hood, but it's definitely been gentrified for sure. And realistically, the hood, it's like the park over here. This is where we were. There's a train station. There's a train track, and then on the other side of it is the hood. So, you know, it's very, very split between the rich part of town and the poor part of town. And we were just hanging out, and nothing like super ridiculous happened. Nobody, it wasn't any like a serious incident. Nobody was hurt, but we were just hanging out at the park, and I guess, I don't know, if somebody was playing, one of my friends was playing their music too loud, which is fair. I agree. I was one of the people telling him he should probably turn down the music. And not only that, but we had a big stick. It was like this big, and we were playing with it because we were bored. We had nothing to do. We were just hanging out. And I had noticed. I looked up and I saw one of the people in the building that's next to the park was like staring at us and talking on the phone. And I said to them, I was like, that guy's been looking at us for a while. Maybe we should leave. And you've been playing your music really loud. And, he argued with me, oh, I'm not playing my music too loud. I can play my music where I want, yada, yada, yada. We decided to start to leave, just in case we were getting on somebody's nerves. And the way this block is set up is that there's the park, and then across from the park over here is a street, and then there's a dead end to the right. So we start to leave, and we see two cops coming our way, and we were joking around like, oh look, it's the cops, you pissed somebody off. And we, like I said that like thinking maybe there was an opportunity those cops were for us, but I said it mostly jokingly. We looked back to see them stop, and then the second we turned around, we were surrounded by cops. And it was pretty scary. Like I said, I probably shouldn't even be talking about this, but it's relevant somewhat. They're asking us, what's going on. They tell us that they're going to search us. They basically stop and frisk us, looking for weapons or anything suspicious. And obviously there was nothing suspicious because we didn't do anything. We ask what's going on, and they say they have a report of people causing a ruckus and somebody with a gun, which was completely untrue. We had no weapons. We had no nothing. I don't know what could have been mistaken as a gun. We weren't doing anything, and they're complaining that there was somebody walking around with a stick, which is ridiculous. The cops were about as equally annoyed as we were that they got called out there for no reason, and they had to stop and frisk us. And we were obviously left off the hook, but after a very scary stop and frisk in a block surrounded by cops. And, they looked at Rashad and told him to put his hands on his head, and my heart was racing. Not only that, but one of my friends he's a very big mouth. He's very easy to anger, very quick to anger. I was afraid maybe he would say something and it would escalate. And it never did, thank God. He was very well behaved, but I don't know, something about them telling Rashad to put his hands on his head really scared the shit out of me. In any other circumstance, that could have turned out so much worse. That could have been a lot scarier. And the rest of that night I was pretty I was pretty shaken up. Another instance that I had experienced around cops that had made me get scared for related reasons is I was at a funeral. I don't remember whose funeral it was for. It was a while ago. This was a few years ago. You know, there was some disagreement over something that was related to the funeral, and there was arguing that broke out within my family, and lots of screaming, lots of yelling, and, you know, eventually it got physical, and the cops got called. Once I had realized that, again, the block had filled up with cops to come settle the commotion, you know, the cops got involved, and then I think somebody got tased. And I was close. I was really close to the action. I'm right there. And for that split second, I was like not sure what was gonna happen. I wasn't sure if there was something was gonna go down. And this is a big this is a big family. You know, we're all black. And I was so scared because a lot of my family occasionally carries weapons, and hearing my mother call out for me to get back and just don't be near it just in case something bad happened is a very painful memory for me. Whenever I had a thought that people would be better off without me, when I do get really depressed, you know, and those really dark thoughts start to roll in, I always double back on it, because thinking about the pain that my loved ones would feel if I wasn't here terrifies me. I don't want to inflict that on somebody. So hearing my mom freak out like that and tell me to get back and stay away because she thought something would happen to me, and just thinking about how much grief that would put her in, makes me sick to my stomach. What's really got me messed up is these riots in response to George. I really struggle with seeing the bright side of things sometimes. And these past few years have been particularly difficult for me. And I try not to, go too much into detail because it's a pretty personal thing. I'm very quick to see the negative things when I think about their relation to me. If it's somebody else and me helping somebody else with their problem, I will champion them, you know, and try to confide in them and try to tell them to keep their head up, things will be okay. But when it comes to me and the way I see things, sometimes it gets very negative. I've never felt more like a nihilist in my life. Not that I've even been alive that long. I'm turning 21 in 3 or 4 months. So coupled with my own issues, not only do we have this ridiculous, terrible, terrible year, you know, Australia, World War III was trending on Twitter, this fucking stupid pandemic, and now this. It's very hard for me to stay positive, and I don't want to be the negative Nancy, but it's hard. It's very scary, especially when there's a race thing tied to it. You know, it's personal now. And this has obviously been happening for a long time. But now, this case more than anything, just how cruel and how serious the repercussions are, whether you believe rioting is the thing to do or not. I don't think it is. But, I don't know what to think at this point. I'm terrified. Normally I would say, like, oh, probably won't happen to me. I'm about my stuff. I'm about my wits. But that whole thing, with me and my friends, nothing really happened, but that experience was like, it wasn't cool. Because we definitely didn't do anything. The main thing that I want to say in all of this rambling and fear and stupid bullshit, just take care of yourselves and be aware and be good. Don't start riots. As scared as you are, and as scared as I am, it really is hard for me to be like, oh, we can get out of this. This will end. And I believe it will. Eventually. I don't know when. Just be good. Be safe. And be about your shit. Please. Make it so that people don't have to die. Riots don't have to break out. And, the world can just be a better place. The world needs it more than ever right now. And I know me rambling probably isn't going to do much, but I just wanted to talk about something that a lot of people have eventually brought up to me. They're like, nobody wants to talk about it because it's such a scary and grisly subject, especially because it has to do with race and possible racism. And me as a black person, they're not going to be like, oh, how do you feel about this? Because it's unpleasant to talk about. I'm gonna make it not so taboo to talk about. This is my channel. I can talk about what I want. I'm not gonna end it on a bad note. If you can, do something nice for somebody. Do something good for the world. And just be good. Be good to each other, please.